It's episode 12 in data analysis with Excel. Fellow learners, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe and follow every single video on data analysis with Excel. In today's video, we'll be talking about data validation. So you ever shared an Excel file with someone and then person typed Tuesday where we're expecting numbers? Alright, today I'll show you how to control what people enter in your worksheet using Excel's data validation tool. Let's get into it. By the end of this video, you will make error-proof drop-downs, custom rules, and automatic alerts, all without a single formula, but using the data validation tool. So we're going to create a drop-down list for clean entries, restrict numbers, dates, and text length. Use custom validation formulae, add input messages and error alerts, and also apply dynamic rules across cell ranges. So we have this data here to help us practice what you'll be learning when it comes to data validation. So data validation sits inside the data tab. We have that here. So let's first convert our data into table form, right? Okay. So we have this data, monthly sales of a particular company. So before we start all the dynamics in data validation, you have to know what data validation is and how it works. So data validation helps you to control what data can be entered into your cell on your worksheet. So think of it as Excel's gatekeeper, right? It lives in the data tab. So as I said earlier, come to the data tab, we have data validation, circle invalid data, and then clear validation circles. So data validation, that's our gatekeeper. Okay, so we can try and see how the dialog box looks like. So can select data validation. So in the open window, we have the validation criteria. We have any value, whole number, decimal, list, date, time, text length, custom. So we have a shortcut to getting that right one. We have the circle invalid data, where normally beginners confuse that with data validation. So make sure you choose the right item. So we'll be working over here often. Then we will clear all doubt about data validation. So let's build one thing. So let's create a drop-down list, okay, for data entry points we want in a particular column. So let's make sure users pick valid months only. Okay, so when you select the month column, you have the ability to choose between all the months from January to December without making errors. So you select the column in question as a column A, okay, because it contains the months that we'll be working with. Then you come to the data tab and you select data validation. So in the first interface, the settings dialog box, you have already selected our range, which is A2 to A11. Alright, and we are now on the data validation window. So we click on the allow and select list. Alright, so when we select list, in the source pane we have to type the month of the year over there, but preferably let's make it, but I prefer we type the names of the months in short. So January go in with J, and February we go in with what, FEB, and so on. So comma, make sure you separate the various months with comma. So February, March, April, October, November, and December. So after typing, you click on OK. So after clicking on OK, you see a drop down on every single cell you select in the A column. So each cell in column A now shows a drop down. So let's see what is found in the drop down. We have all the months we typed in there. Okay, so if the person is typing a particular month, there's no way he or she is going to make a mistake. So let's see. Let's start typing. So maybe May. Okay, so May is already there. The moment you hit enter, it picks the May we wrote in our data validation. So let's try April here. Let's make December. So DEC. When you hit enter, we have the correct December looking for. So the common mistake over here is forgetting the commas. When I was typing the source, inside the source, I brought comma after every month. So don't forget to bring the comma, otherwise you won't have this nice presentation. So separate each list item with a comma. Work contains, column C and column D contain numbers. So you can try and restrict these two columns, okay, to follow some kind of interval. Maybe for unit sales, we expect this to this range. For sales amount, we expect this to that, so that anyone who types value beyond or below the set range, Excel will just prompt out something or won't accept that value. So now we make sure units sold are realistic, say between 1 and 500. Okay, so we first select our column containing the values. Then same process, we go to data validation. Allow, we choose number, whole number. Okay, and then between minimum say 1 and maximum we say 500. Let's click OK and see. So now for the units sold for the month February, let's try making it 0 and see. When you hit enter, it says this value does not match the data validation restrictions defined for this cell. So we have defined a particular rule that we want values between 1 to 500. The fact that somebody is typing 0, which is below, Excel won't allow. So let's say 501, and let's see, same thing as a 0. So we retry and say maybe 67. You see, it works. So now we have validated it. So if somebody is working on your sheet and is inputting a wrong value, Excel will be there to just check it out without you being present and following every single detail. So Excel shows this error alert and it prompts the user to make some changes. So this data validation was for numbers. You can also make a mistake by selecting letters and it's not going to work. It's solely for numbers. So ensure your cells are formatted as numbers as well. So you know that already. Come to home. Here, our cells should be formatted as numbers. It's fine. You can just get rid of the decimal point. Okay, so you can also try another. Can restrict date. Okay, so in we don't have date in our data set here, so you can create one for ourselves. Try to use date. Let's create the validation for the date. So validation, always check the drop down, you select date. Okay, so the data we expect supposed to be between our start date. We can make it 1st of January, okay, 2025, and the end date we can make it 31st of December 2025. Let's press OK. All right, so now the moment you type a date not within this interval, there should be an error message. So let's try. Let's say 1st January 2024. So our data is validated. The story is going to accept this. But the moment we type a correct date, say 14th September 2025, so it's accepted because it falls in the range given for the date. That's very fine. So I think data validation is very, very, very important when you're working on a group, okay, where everybody is trying to input on an online worksheet, okay. So to make sure everyone is working accurately, you can validate every single column in which you'll be inputting the data to ensure that even if all participants are not available but only one person is working on, there's the assurance that the data being typed will be what the accepted ones. We have to make use of data validation. So you can also set some custom input message and error alert. You can also try that. So instead of maybe this value is not accepted, you can see something more personalized, okay, to the user. So you can select C2 to C11 and try to create some custom message. So let's make our sheet friendlier. We will guide users with an input message and custom alert. At least should be polite to those trying to work with us. So same for the data validation. So you can make it you have input message. So the title can be unit sold entry. So the message, enter a number between 1 and 500. Okay. You can also move to error alert. Then you can choose title, invalid entry. So the error message. Okay, so being able to do some things, I want us to also try a new strategy. So instead of typing list items manually, we can use a range to easier update a new work we are doing. All right, so let's say we have this list, okay, of salespersons. We need them or we need some of them to do something else. Okay, we need their names to do something else. Instead of copy and pasting them, you can apply the data validation method and also get the names you want. Use validation to also pick some of the names of the salesperson without typing them always. So looking at the salespersons column, we have Alex, Bob, Carlos, and Dana. These are the salespeople. Okay, so we select that and then we try to validate. so that anytime we want to add more names or more salespersons, we can just make reference to the names you have in column I. We should bring equal to we have equal to absolute referencing, so I dollar, we have 4 to dollar I dollar 7. Press OK. Now let's see. So you can easily make changes, and I'll call new salespersons. So what's happening? Let's continue with custom validation formula. So you can even use a formula to create your own validation rule. For example, you can ensure sales amount equals unit times 20. We want to make sure that sales amount is unit sold times 20, and we can use data validation to do that. So we first need to select the sales amount range. Okay, move to data, then validation. So allow, we choose custom, then we type. So our formula should begin with equal to. So equal to D2 should be equal to C2 times 20. Click OK. Right, so let's change any cell, okay, to violate this rule and see what happens. So 20 times 760 is supposed to give us something, but let's say we type 560. So Excel says this value doesn't match the validation restriction defined for this cell. Do you understand? So if you use formula as a custom validation for our column sales amount, and this is very good and helpful in working as a data analyst, okay, where you're always working with companies' data on sales. So it'll be very helpful when you are calculating. We can also copy data validation formulae to affect other columns. Okay, copying the validation rule, not the entire data set, but just the validation rule. So in case we need the same rule elsewhere, you don't need to go and repeat the process again and then rewrite our formula. You can just copy the validation rule from what you already did, and I'll paste it on top of the new data. So we just wrote one here, so we copy. So we are trying to copy and paste the validation we have in sales amount. So copy, and in case you want to affect it to column F, we right click, paste special, we move to paste special again, we have validation here, press OK. And now let's see, let's type a value like 980 and see we are still having error. So the value we put in here should be 760 by 20, and that one Excel is going to take that. We also have 90 by 20, so we can easily do that. That's 1800, right? So Excel is accepting that because 90 by 20 is 1800. So as a beginner, these are some stuff you can learn in data validation tool, which can be helpful in your journey as you are improving from a beginner to an intermediate user of Excel. Thank you for learning with me. I hope you enjoyed the studies. Please, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do and follow for more lessons on Excel. We are having about 8 videos more on Excel for us to complete our tutorials on Excel. Have a nice evening. Catch you at that time.